We have some breaking news as it is official, folks. Mitch Marner has been traded in a blockbuster deal, a sign and trade to the Vegas Golden Knights. And following what has been a crazy amount of time waiting, it has finally happened and the return has been revealed. It'll break down exactly what the Leafs got back, as well as a few other updates, as this has been the craziest hour of Leafs and just in the NHL in general in a very, very long time. But before we get into it all, if you're part of the percentage, you aren't subscribed to the channel, our goal is 25,000 subscribers. If you want to help us towards that goal, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying the up-to-date daily Leafs content, folks, tons of videos coming today. So if you're part of the 71%, you guys have been an absolute beast. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Darius, it finally happened. Today was the day they had to make the trade. They technically had till 11:59 a.m. tomorrow. They got the deal done, and it was made official. And of course, following last night when Nicholas Hague was traded to Nashville, we were wondering what the return was going to be, if it's going to happen. Folks, it happened, and a few different things here. Let's just start with this. Mitch Marner has been traded to Vegas, and this is how it started from Elliot Friedman about 15 or so minutes ago. We went live, so if you're in the live stream, shout out to each and every one of you, and we were all waiting for the return. Now, he signed an 8x12 with Vegas, and Bob McKenzie came out with a bomb. Pending trade calls being completed, as previously speculated, assuming it goes through, it will be Nick Roy to Toronto and Mitch Marner going to Vegas. So as of the time of recording, it's a 1-for-1. That seems to be the confirmed package here. Darius, we'll dive into Nick Roy, but man, what a way to end a crazy era of Leafs hockey. They wanted a DNA change. Brad Treliving comes in with multiple signings, extending their guys, trading for another player, and trading away Mitch Marner all on the same day.
And we had a feeling that this was coming. We just didn't know what team, but it looked like Vegas was the front runner. There's multiple reports that last season, the Toronto Maple Leafs were trying to conduct the trade to get Shea Theodore out of Vegas. And of course, that fell through. And then at this year's trade deadline, there were reports that Mitch Marner was open to waiving his no movement clause to go to the Vegas Golden Knights. So he's been linked to Vegas. At this point, everything's starting to make sense for quite some time. And I mean, when you look at everything that's happened and the fact that, like you mentioned, they wanted some DNA changes, I do want to say and take a moment because we haven't yet. This is a little bit sad, right? Because back in 2016, everything looked fantastic. And it was like, wow, look at Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander. These guys are going to bring us a cup. And it all ends today. It was an end of an era. And we do still hope that Austin Matthews and William Nylander can bring the Toronto Maple Leafs to a Stanley Cup, but it's going to be without Mitch Marner. So in a way, it is a little bit sad. I wish Mitch Marner the best. I think he's obviously a fantastic player and going to do great things in Vegas, but that doesn't matter. This is Leafs Digest right now, and we're moving forward without Mitch Marner. And I think that the Leafs will be, personally, a better team for it, addition by subtraction. But we move forward. Nick Roy's coming back the other way. It's believed, at the time of this recording, it's a 1-for-1 deal. Of course, if it's a random Tuesday during the middle of a season, that trade makes no sense. But with the current circumstances, makes a lot of sense. The Leafs finally fixed their third line center problem. They got a third line center that can score in the playoffs. He's won a Stanley Cup. All of these things, brings all the intangibles. It's great. And before I throw it back over to you, Nick, a lot has been happening around the league. Brad Marchand's not going to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. We know that. He's re-signing in Florida. So now they have a ton of cap space, which, by the way, at the time of recording this, Matthew Knies isn't technically signed because the Leafs would be an overage on the salary cap. They technically signed Mitch Marner. The trade call has to go through. They can sign Matthew Knies and then go about their business. They added Michelli as well. We had a video covering that. The Leafs look like they're coming into form, into shape. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it is just completely chaotic. We'll have more videos covering everything. The focus right now is going to be on this trade. You mentioned it. It's an 8x12, and Mitch Marner should have been the easiest all-time fan favorite in essentially the franchise history. It's a shame the way it played out. I mean, yeah, best of luck to him. I'm excited to actually have a chance now to win a Stanley Cup, and that's what matters most to me here. Vegas, interesting fit for him. Like, all the speculation about how he might return, where he might go. He didn't even get a chance. He didn't even test the market, which is crazy enough. He ultimately just went to Vegas, got a very reasonable contract, quite frankly, for what, I expected more. Honestly, they could have probably got 14, 15 with the Ducks. 8x12. Like, I'm sure there's some Leafs fans out there that said the Leafs probably could have got that done. They are taking a brand new approach here. We saw the trade earlier. Steven Lorenz, who we'll have a video on, they re-signed him. You have other guys as well. There's a lot of things that are happening here, which this team's DNA now is completely different. Nicholas Roy, it is just an exciting time. But the biggest takeaway here is that it is officially all over, and they're getting some assets back. Maybe a pick gets thrown in. Again, it seems that it's a 1-for-1. And I think the projected cap space now, this doesn't include the trade that happened earlier this afternoon, I don't believe. So it's probably around $13 million. But Darius, it is now at a point where, again, 1-for-1 deal, and we'll run under the assumption that it is a 1-for-1. You get your third line center. You got a winger today that can play in the top six. Matthew Knies is extended. You still have Scott Lawton, who can either be your fourth line center if they want, can play the third line wing. Max Domi, hopefully he can have a bounce back. Like, this team all of a sudden went from completely bare bones to one of the deeper teams in the division, one of the deeper teams in the conference, especially if they can figure things out. And guys, tomorrow is free agency. It hasn't even started yet, and they are heavily involved in a lot of the players. No Brad Marchand, which would have really put, I think, a bow on this. He got signed for 6 years. At least we're never, ever going to do that. And he's basically making the same amount of money, around 24 million. He probably would have made 24 million here over 3 years, whatever it ended up being. But Darius, pivoting a second here into Nicholas Waugh, he is a very, very good player. And I kind of want to get your thoughts on just the type of player he is, what he can bring to the team. Because lost in all of this is the fact that he is a very good, serviceable player. Is he an elite player? No. Is he Mitch Marner's level? Absolutely not. But this is a guy that you give up, I mean, in theory, a first-round pick for, if you date back to last year's trade deadline, the type of player. Brad is doing insane work, especially given the fact that he traded 2 of his first-round picks at the deadline last season.
And I think the biggest thing here is that the Leafs are getting a piece back from Mitch Marner, right? Whether it's Nick Waugh or anybody else, you're getting something back. You're getting an asset. Not only that, he's going to play on your third line, right? He's going to be your third line center. He can win faceoffs. Again, he's won a Stanley Cup. He's the type of guy that, brings those intangibles you can win with in the playoffs, right? That heavy style that, Craig Berube has brought to the table, at least in terms of, play style. Whether, I don't know if he had the personnel necessarily to do it last year. I thought they were going to be able to do it, but clearly not. This is a DNA change. And to go back to something you were saying too with Mitch Marner before we wrap that up and we don't talk about it ever again, is that, he signed for 12 million. Why can't the Leafs do that? There's a lot of other things, mixed into that. And I just don't think he wanted to be, I don't think he wanted to come back. And I don't think the Leafs wanted him back either. I think that they wanted to, obviously they were going to say that they were going to re-sign him or want to re-sign him. But I think at the end of the day, you want to go in a different direction, build this team differently. And I mean, if you look at it right now, Steven Lorentz is back on the fourth line. This team is not done, right? Like, I think they're going to try and move Calle Yarncroke as well. David Kampf, right? Like, what does the rest of the fourth line look like? And then Scott Laughton, you brought up, is he a fourth line center? I actually don't think so. Maybe he's playing the wing now because now you have your third line center. You have Scott Laughton and Nick Waugh there on the third line, 2 guys who can score and are hard to play against. That's going to be hard to play against, right? Machelli, you just acquired. I think he has a high ceiling still. He's still a young player. He can probably play in your top 6, and in free agency, you still have enough money to go out and get a top winger if you really wanted to. So, and obviously still some money to sign some, obviously Pontus Holmberg's not coming back. We're going to have a video on that as well. A couple guys are not coming back, but you have a lot of freedom now, but you added your third line center. And this is a guy that I think you can win with. Clearly Vegas won with him, right? He was a good player. And I think he actually has more playoff goals than Mitch Marner, which I know Mitch Marner is more, of an assist guy and of course playmaking and all those things. But I don't look at that in the playoffs. Did you score the goals? Did you win? That's it. Matthew Nyes, I know that he scores goals in the playoffs, and that's why he signed for big money, and that's why the Leafs want him, because he throws the body around. He's hard to play against, and he scores goals when it matters. So I think Nick Waugh, of course, is not the same level as Matthew Nyes, of course, but he's going to fit very nicely in this team, and this team is not built yet. It's not done. Brad Treliving is going to continue to cook, and can I just say that since he came in on as GM, I feel like he had his hands tied a little bit the first summer. But ever since then, he's made some really quality moves.
I'm happy. It's over with Mitch Marner. No more talking about him. And it's the beginning of what's going to be a crazy another 24 hours here with free agency opening up tomorrow. We're going to keep you up to date. Make sure to hit the subscribe button.